Murder for Love, the true story of Bonnie and Clyde.
This is a story of two lovers, but not the kind of romantic tale that ends with a happy ending. It is the story of two young souls trapped in a world of poverty, despair, and violence. Two names etched into history as the most dangerous lovers of crime. Bonnie Parker and Clyde Barrow became legends, but behind the myth lies a bitter truth of theft, murder, and ultimately, betrayal and death. Bonnie Parker was born in Texas in 1910, a bright girl with a love for poetry and literature, dreaming of becoming an actress. As a teenager, she married a man named Roy Thornton, but the marriage did not last. Eventually, Bonnie was left alone, still yearning for excitement and adventure. Clyde Barrow, born in 1909, grew up in a poor family in Texas. From a young age, he turned to petty theft, and by his teenage years, his name was already known to local police. But what led him down the path of crime was not just poverty. It was his rebellious spirit, one that refused to bow to the law. They met in 1930. Bonnie was a 19-year-old girl working in a cafe, and Clyde was a 20-year-old criminal recently released from prison. From the very first moment, a spark ignited between them. Bonnie was captivated by Clyde, and Clyde found in Bonnie something no one else had ever given him: unwavering loyalty and boundless love. Clyde was soon arrested again and sent back to prison, but this time, Bonnie proved just how loyal she was. She smuggled a gun into the prison for Clyde, helping him escape. However, his freedom didn't last long. He was caught again and sent to the infamous Eastham Farm prison. In prison, Clyde endured extreme hardship and even killed one of his cellmates. Later, his family managed to pressure the authorities into granting him parole. But the experience changed him forever. Clyde swore that he would never be captured again, even if it cost him his life. Immediately after his release, Clyde and Bonnie escaped together and began their criminal path. What started as petty thefts from stores and gas stations quickly escalated to bank robberies and deadly shootouts. Along with a group that would later become known as the Barrow Gang, they spread terror across Texas, Oklahoma, and other southern states of America. Bonnie and Clyde were not just criminals. They were fearless lovers living their lives as if it were an action movie. They were always armed and constantly on the run. Their lifestyle was a mix of excitement, violence, and an uncontrollable love that fueled their every move. In 1933, the police found their hideout in Joplin, Missouri. A fierce shootout occurred and the Barrow Gang managed to escape, but at their hideout, photos of them were found and quickly published in newspapers across the country. Now, Bonnie and Clyde's faces were recognized all over America. They continued their robberies, but with each heist, the police were getting closer and closer. In an act of revenge for the suffering he endured in prison, Clyde orchestrated a bold attack on Eastham Prison and helped free several prisoners. However, this only made the police more determined to capture him at any cost. In April 1934, Bonnie and Clyde took the last member of their gang Henry Methvin to his father's house to hide. However, this decision turned out to be a huge mistake. Henry's father secretly collaborated with the authorities and betrayed them by revealing their hiding location. The police set up an ambush. On May 23, 1934, along an abandoned road in Louisiana, federal and local officers hid among the trees, waiting for their arrival. That morning, Bonnie and Clyde drove into the ambush site. Suddenly, a barrage of bullets rained down on them. Clyde died in those first moments, but Bonnie never even had the chance to get out of the car. The police fired over 150 bullets at them. Their car was riddled with bullets, and their bodies were soaked in blood. The end of Bonnie and Clyde, just as they had always promised, was written in fire and gunfire. After their death, people divided into two groups. Some saw them as heroes fighting against the oppressive economic system of their time, while others considered them ruthless killers who deserved no better fate. Their car, riddled with bullet holes, was put on display, and people lined up to see it. But the truth was that Bonnie and Clyde were just two young lovers who chose the wrong path. They believed they could escape the law, but in the end, no love could save them from their bloody fate. Some cases remain unsolved, but the truth is never buried forever. Don't forget to subscribe. The next case might be even darker.